Good morning.
Good morning.
It's a good morning.
It is indeed.
It's May 2nd, and we are not in Fort Collins. We're pre recording because we are in New Mexico.
Yeah, we're just trekking around, hanging out with the geckos and whatever else we can get into.
So we're away, but we're not that far away. And we want to welcome you to our service. We have put together and have a wonderful service, wonderful music, awesome music, and a guest speaker that I don't think many of you even know of. So
Amazing.
be prepared. It's going to be a great morning. I want to thank you for your presence with us here today, wherever you're tuning in, knowing that we're here to tune in. Tune in to the divine that is breathing us, because that's what we're about. We're about that power, that presence, whatever you call the divine intelligence that is breathing you. You can call it spirit, God, Christ consciousness, love,
Or Fred.
or Fred.
Yeah.
You could call it Fred. But we just know that ultimately it's love, and we welcome everyone. We're an inclusive community that believes in the spirit that is breathing us. And we just teach the paths and the practices to help us on our path. Our vision here at Unity of Fort Collins is that we are centered in love, inspired by spirit. We awaken, we connect, and we thrive. So that is our vision statement. And we have a few announcements to get us started. So I'm going to pass this over to Reverend Divine.
Okay, so what I want to share with you is we're going to be starting a new class. Reverend Liz and I are going to be starting a new class. It's a 7-week class, and it's based off the book from Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons, who's a Unity minister, called The Eye of the Storm. This class will be from 6 to 8. It will be a Zoom class, and it starts on May 18th, runs through June 29th. It's $140 for the class. Scholarships are available, and also we would appreciate a $25 deposit for your commitment to the class for our enrollment, so we know how many folks will be here. A little bit about the class itself. The Eye of the Storm leads you into ways to embrace conflict. Most of us avoid anything to do with any kind of confrontation. And we also often live our lives where people are totally against us. We're just sure of that. Well, Reverend Gary always says in this book, throughout the book, everyone is for you and no one's against you. And what would it be like if you had tools to work with conflict in such a way that you could see possibilities and ways to maneuver to have greater connection, greater intimacy in the conversations you have without feeling under attack, without feeling as though you had to avoid things that were like the elephant in the room because you just didn't want to have the conversation. It was too uncomfortable. And so I can tell you, having studied this in ministerial school, he is amazing, this book and the premise of what the book is about. So, of course, the primary thing you'll need is the book, which is called The Eye of the Storm by Gary Simmons. And if you're the slightest bit more curious, all I can say is it's a great way to learn peacemaking skills. And in a time in our lives where we often have so much conflict and angst, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's even in your church community, there's tools that have a way to allow you to embrace it with ease, joy, and possibilities. So I'm excited that we're teaching this class. It's going to be awesome. And we look forward to you joining us too. Thanks.
Thanks, Reverend Dean. All of their announcements and information, again, is on the Unity of Fort Collins website, and that's under news and events. So please check it out. I'm excited about the class. And if you want to make payments or you have any questions, please contact the office Monday through Thursday from 9 until 12. Julie is here and she can pass on questions to me. So let us begin now by a centering prayer. So I invite you to take a breath in and let it go. Another breath in and let it go. Letting go of the activities, the thoughts, and just bringing yourself present to the awareness of your breath. Noticing the gentle rhythm. And as we focus on the breath and become still, we understand that that breath isn't even our breath. It is divine love intelligence that is breathing me, that is breathing you, that is breathing all of creation. This love intelligence is in all that is seen, all that is unseen. It is the power and the presence of this intelligence, this love, containing within it peace, wholeness, harmony, beauty, joy, freedom. And so we just open to that divine power and presence, knowing that each and every one of us is a unique, individualized expression of that love. And we come here together this morning to remember who we are and to learn more about the practices that will keep us on that knowingness so that we can experience more of the joy and laughter and love that we already are. And so we just let this word go. We give thanks for the musicians today, Blaze and Kelly. We give thanks for Reverend Dr. David Alt, who is our guest speaker today. We give thanks for you, for your presence, for the Unity community, and for all that is going on everywhere, because we are all part of the one. And so we let this word go and accept and know that we are blessed by being here now. And if you care to join me, let us say together, and so it is. And now I invite you to join us by speaking together our unity blessing. And if you care to place your hands upon your heart, and together, our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. And now it's my joy and great pleasure to bring back to Unity of Fort Collins the dynamic duo known as Blaze and Kelly. Singer-songwriter Nicole Blaze and bassist and vocalist Mo Kelly entertain audiences of all ages with genuine charm, oh yes, and burning passion for music. They have powerful vocal harmonies. They remind me so much of the Indigo Girls. They have a dynamic stage presence, and they have put together these songs that has a unique flavor. I know that you're going to love them. Their style is a combination of folk and rock, and they bring a lighthearted, joyful energy to every performance. They've been touring for over 15 years. They've opened for Crosby, Stills and Nash, Sean Colvin, the Weepies, and Olivia Newton-John, among others. They have 8 CDs of original music and a full performance DVD showing off their unique style and charisma on stage. They also offer outreach programs to inspire youth and enthusiasm for the arts. These two are some of my favorites. I met them a few years back at a conference and have experienced their music, and now we're bringing them back to you. So please send out your love and open your hearts to the amazing Blaze and Kelly. Yay!
And I'm going to now speak a little bit about our fabulous speaker today, Reverend David Alt. Reverend Alt is a prolific voice in human development and consciousness studies. As an unwavering crusader for mindfulness and global literacy, As a global humanitarian, David abides by the motto that people would rather see the sermon than hear one. He is the founder and executive director of Kaleidoscope Children Foundation, whose mission is to advance vulnerable children and communities worldwide with sustainable education, life skills, and fresh water. Beginning more than 16 years ago, Kaleidoscope now operates schools in Cambodia, India, and partners with literacy programs throughout Guatemala and the US, serving more than 1,000 children annually. He is a love and a gift and a blessing to the world. Thank you, Reverend David. We are blessed that you are here to share your beingness with us. Thank you.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Hello, Fort Collins. This is Blaze and Kelly. We're honored to be here. I hope you all are having a great day. Here is a song we'd love for you to sing if you'd like. It's called Go Where the Love Is. Are you ready, Mo Kelly?
I am ready, Nicole Blaze.
All right. Here we go. Have you ever lost your way? Have mercy, thinking about yesterday. Well, I was standing in the creek, singing songs that came out of the street, and my heart was free as a breeze. Go where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah, go where the love is, and you will be lost again. Long before you were broken, long before hearts were spoken. Yeah, there was nothing to rise above. Go where the love is, where the love is. Go where the love is. Yeah, go where the love is, and you will be
morning. I'm Dale Pettigrew, pleased to be a member of this fine community of Unity of Fort Collins. I'm going to share with you the daily word today. The changes I wish to see must begin with me. How many times have I wished that my life could be different? How many times have I prayed for more harmonious relationships, greater peace of mind, more robust health, or deeper satisfaction with my life? Today, I realize that all the changes I wish to see start with me at the level of my thinking. As I focus on harmony, peace, wholeness, and joy, these thoughts begin to flower in my consciousness. I remain engaged with the world as it is, yet attuned to a more spiritual reality. In time, I notice that my outer world is reflecting my inner state because I am creating my life from the inside out. Through the power of divine order, I bring my dreams to vivid life. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by renewing of your minds, so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Romans 12, verse 2.
Isn't this beautiful? Here in this process of grand development, I don't understand. Isn't this beautiful? With memories we'll never forget, thoughts not conceived just yet, but all the master plan. Isn't life beautiful? Isn't this beautiful? Yeah, I look in your eyes when you tell me no lies, and you speak the truth. tragedy in Chaos Springs, the circles get close, and you stand in the middle of yourself. And isn't that beautiful? Can you see it as beautiful? You know that you're beautiful, you know you're beautiful, life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Can you see it as beautiful? Life is Isn't life beautiful?
Good morning, Unity of Fort Collins. My name is David Alt, and I am a minister located in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm just so very, very honored and happy that Reverend Liz asked me to come and to be with you today and the beginning of this new month of May. My understanding is that you've been examining and exploring a series on the 12 powers. And for the month of May, that new power is understanding. And more specifically, it's spiritual understanding. And one of the things that I absolutely strive for is to not necessarily talk at you, but to find practical application so that by the time our session, our sacred connection is complete today, that you have a takeaway, something that you can use in your everyday life. And so I think I found one: spiritual understanding. I bet that you can complete this sentence. I can't see the forest for the trees. I can't see the forest for the trees. And when we think about that homespun wisdom that we've heard so often, it's really quite an inroad into a greater spiritual understanding. So if we break it down this way, I can't see the forest for the trees. So I want you to imagine that, or actually what I want you to do is kind of look around where you are and find something that you can stick in front of your face. I know that that sounds really weird, but go with me, trust me on this. So if you do this and you block your vision, what do you see? In fact, Andre is going to give us a little help. He's going to bring up a slide, and I want you to imagine that this is right in front of you. Take it away, Andre. All right. So we have before us just this bark. And so if you want to take it even further, you can take a piece of paper, you can take your hands and obstruct your eyesight so that you can't see anything beyond the paper or your hand. And now I want you to allow that piece of paper or the hand or the bark to represent a challenge or multiple challenges. So all of us in our human relational day-to-day activities, we are bombarded with just human challenges. It's a part of the curriculum. So whether it's a anxiety around a family issue or some financial struggle, or there is upheaval in career, personality conflict, you name it. If it's how am I going to pay for this, the student loan issues, mortgage, all of the things, health, all of the stuff that are completely swimming in this thing called the human curriculum, allow that to sort of be the tree. You know, that's the thing that's right in front of us. That's the thing that consumes our energy, our conversation, and our day-to-day stuff. And when we we're so focused on that, and that's all that we can see, it's really phenomenal how that thing colors our entire mindset. It sort of saturates our level of consciousness. And yet, if I say, okay, Andre, take that slide down, and then I say, you take the piece of paper down or remove your hand, what you were aware of is that even when this was up, there was something beyond it because you had an experience of it. So even if you've been accustomed to, like all of us have, in staring at a computer screen, and now during this experience that we call COVID, you know that beyond the screen, there is a room, there is an office, a bedroom, wherever it is that you've been doing that activity day in and day out. And that beyond that room, there is the rest of your apartment or your house or whatever it is, or wherever it is that you're staying. And we know this because we've had an experience about something beyond. We have an experience beyond the computer screen that you're staring at. You have an experience beyond this troubling tree. And what is that experience? That there is a forest of options. There is solution that has always met us at pivotal moments of crisis in our life. How do we know this? Because we have experienced it. And there's this great phrase that says everything happens twice. What does that mean? Well, metaphysically, and with our 12 powers word for the month, understanding, we understand that everything that we are experiencing in the outer realm, that which is the external world, first happens in the inner realm, as within, so without. And so when we have a spiritual understanding that reminds us that we have this power to direct the energy, to direct and choose thought, choose focus. So even when something is overwhelming, like the tree in front of us, there is an awareness, there is an experience, and there is this application of faith that draws us to go, okay, I may not be able to see the forest right now, but I know it's there. I may not be able to know what's next for me to do about this situation, but I know that solution already exists. And how do we get movement with that? Everything happens twice. So it's an invitation to understand that I don't want to dwell on this. I don't want to dwell on my tree vision. What I want to become is what I like to call forest people. You know who forest people are? They're like the visionaries. Those are the people who don't get mired in all of the static that is happening in the immediate experience. You know those people. You've been one of those people from time to time. You got to give yourself some credit for that, because it's the simple act of faith, and we all excel in that in different arenas. For example, there are people who don't stress out about love relationships. They're just, I don't know what it is, but they automatically have this innate, vulnerable, open heart, and they walk around the world that way. And because it's not a thing, then it's natural for the outer world to get into them and for them to be able to receive that love. There are other people, not so much. There are people who making money or career options or leadership is a walk in the park. They are a tree person with regards to that slice of the pie of human behavior. And then there are other people who struggle. There are people who find it difficult to speak in front of other people. There are people who shy away from the fear of mistake because of past history. So their vulnerability is a little more nuanced and a little more fragile. And yet it's applicable all across the board that everything happens twice. And so how do we become more natural, not just in one segment of our human experience, but in all of them? because that same law of cause and effect applies across the board. There's nothing being withheld from you, and there's nothing being withheld from me when we understand what we're dealing with. And what we're dealing with is the power of consciousness, our mind, and the understanding of that. That's the 12 power for this month, spiritual understanding. So what can we do about that? What can we do to become more of a forest person, even when our day is filled with this? And that takes practice. Practice doesn't have to be a scary, dirty word. It can be an invitation that says to us, this is your point of power. I tell people sometimes that right in the midst of something that is scary or filled with anguish or anxiety, that's the actual sweet spot. Because to be aware of that, to be able to articulate that, to be able to say, this is what I'm feeling, is such a huge part of the journey. Because oftentimes we can reflect back in our own lives and we can see when we didn't even have the awareness to give voice to what was going on. We just became accustomed to that as a part of life. You know who I'm talking about. There are people who live an entire life in this sort of unconscious default behavior because that's what they grew up in. That was their religious indoctrination. That's their domestication with regards to the multi-generational behavior that they came from. And then there are those of us, I like to say us, because I don't think you would be listening to this or be a part of a new thought or a unity movement if there wasn't some willingness to break free from that, to break free from the default of being a tree person to being a forest person. There's nothing that you have to earn to do that. It's all a matter of willingness and a matter of understanding, spiritual understanding that nothing is being withheld from us by anything out there, because everything happens twice. So we check in, we pause, we check in, and we go, what do I want? What is my tree vision? How do I want to feel? When I enter into some kind of scary activity like that, I can say to myself, how do I want to feel when this thing is over with? And so the next slide is sort of an indicator or a visual of how life could be. Andre brings up this beautiful vista. Years ago, I wanted to celebrate a milestone in my life, a birthday milestone in my life. And I decided that I was going to walk the Camino de Santiago across the country of Spain. Perhaps you've heard of it. It's one of the most ancient pilgrimages that exist on our planet. It goes back to the Middle Ages, and it starts in a little village town at the base of France called Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. And the first day of the pilgrimage, you go over the Pyrenees into Spain. It's the path that is believed that the apostle St. James traveled when he was in exile. And the cathedral that is at the end of the pilgrimage in a town on the other side of Spain called Santiago de Compostela is where St. James the Apostle is believed to have been buried. So pilgrims, Christian pilgrims, spiritual pilgrims, anyone who is ready and willing to cultivate a deeper understanding goes on the Camino. It's sort of like a customary thing for Europeans to do. If they're at a decision point in their life, or a lot of young people do it before they embark upon a career, or you'll see people in midlife crisis. I mean, it's amazing how many people from around the world walk the Camino. And the same mistake happens every day on that first day from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port of France into Spain. And it's that we bring too much stuff. The journey can take you, it took me about 34 days. and you're carrying everything on your back in your backpack or rucksack or whatever, and you stop along the way at these places called refugios, refuge for the pilgrims. And I foolishly overpacked, brought too much stuff. I brought books. Who carries books for 30 days on their back? And what's so funny about it is that those who manage the Camino trails all across the country of Spain, they understand human behavior. And they know that on that first day, it's a day of reckoning. And so there are these recyclable receptacles all along the first trail. And you start seeing people emptying things out of their rucksacks and backpacks. I very sorrowfully let my books go and all of that kind of stuff, because I knew that I was only there to take what belonged to me. I mean, what was absolutely necessary. And then on that first day, it's the unknown. So pause for a moment and think, you remember when you started a job and you didn't know what it was going to be like, and you had that nervousness in the pit of your stomach? Because you don't know yet. You don't have the experience yet. So I didn't know what to expect. All that I knew was that there would be some kind of a cot or a bed in these refugios, and then it was first come, first serve. I didn't know. So my first day, instead of celebrating all of the other pilgrims who were on the same journey, all of them who had answered sort of the same call to take this big pivotal adventure, I didn't look at them as fellow pilgrims. I looked at them as bed stealers, because I was like, oh my God. And I'm not necessarily the fastest person in the world. I've got great stamina, but people were passing me. I mean, old people, young people, herds of goats, everything was passing me. And instead of celebrating the fact that I was walking across the Pyrenees, something that might never happen again in my life, I was consumed in my mind with the fact that what's going to happen? Very much like a tree person gets so consumed about a worst case scenario or worrying about something that hasn't happened yet. And something hit me right in the middle of that day in the Pyrenees. And it was like, David, what are you doing? You're walking across the Pyrenees, for goodness sake. Stop, look around. And I did. I turned around and I looked. And they say that the Pyrenees is like a fickle mistress, because usually it's just shrouded in clouds and mist. But on that day, oh my God, it was so pristine, just like the slide. You could just see forever, and it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. So as that slide goes away, you can hold that mind, and as I'm looking at all of that, these words came to me that solution already exists. Solution already exists, meaning that wherever I'm going to sleep, whatever the bed is, whatever the cot is, it's already there. I don't need to worry about it. What I need to do is to realign myself with the forest, because the forest contains the solution. And my only job is to keep moving forward. And so I did. I relaxed, and yes, I found a place to sleep that night and every other night for the remainder of the month. But it was a beautiful reminder of the fact that when we're in our head, when we have this sort of singular tree vision, and we can't function or breathe or trust or cling a little bit less tightly to something, then we miss the experience of what that forest vision has for us. I am so glad that I stopped looking down and looking begrudgingly at the other people and began to relax and breathe and trust and know. So the spiritual understanding wants that to not be reserved for a special occasion. It's calling upon us. It's calling upon us to be able to relax and to understand and to know that all is well. So one of my profound teachers, Ernest Holmes, he said, there's no limit to the law. What's the law? The law of cause and effect, the law that teaches us that everything happens twice. The law, kind of the most ancient spiritual teaching, which is as within, so without, as above, so below. So there's no limit to that. There's no limit to the law, but there appears to be a limit to man's, or we'll do non-gender verbiage, to anyone's understanding of it. There's no limit to the law, but there appears to be a limit to our understanding of it. Our understanding of it. So spiritual understanding is something that is recognized. The more that we recognize that our understanding goes beyond appearances, is the thing that influences the way in which we interrelate with the world and the way in which the world is able to be viewed by us. So what I mean by that is that forest view is always there. That solution is always there. But unless we become willing to move beyond the tunnel vision of the singular tree, or the tunnel vision of the issue or the problem, and to surrender ourselves into the greater yet to be. I believe it was Martin Luther King who used to talk about the staircase. And he said, we're not going to be able to see the top of that. Sometimes it's shrouded in the mist. And the only thing that we can do is to take the next step and the next step and the next step. So if everything happens twice, our only due diligence, our only real responsibility is to continue pivoting back to being a forest person. So I can tell you many times in my life that this has been the one thing that has moved me beyond becoming paralyzed by the tree. Long time ago, I started a nonprofit, and it's a foundation called Kaleidoscope Child Foundation. Big story, saved for another time. But I had an experience in the banks of a river in Cambodia, feeding starving children. And it so burst my heart open and so changed the trajectory of my life that I made a vow that I would keep going back. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what it would take to start a foundation, to open schools. Today, we serve over 1,000 children across the planet. We have schools in Cambodia and in India, and we do service initiatives to young girls in Guatemala. And it's something that has taken over my life in such a beautiful way that I've sort of left formalized ministry so I can run my foundation full time. But when that happened in Cambodia, I would find myself halting because the tree would come up and I would say, "You don't know anything about this." But for whatever reason, I just would keep pushing through. And here's why. I read a quote once in a travel magazine. I was on a plane going somewhere, and I read this quote by the travel writer named Doug Boyd. And he said, the most powerful mantra that you can ever say is this: I'm available. And then he said, look out, because if you're serious, your whole world will change. Andre has a slide of that quote because I think you might want to take a screenshot of it. It's so powerful. The most powerful mantra that you could ever say is, I'm available. But look out, because if you're serious, your whole world will change. And I'm here to testify that that's true. So what's the mojo, the energy in saying I'm available? Well, I did that on the banks of Cambodia at that time. My heart was so broken open by the experience of what happened that it only took $86 US in order for us, the group that I was leading, to to be able to buy out an entire local market's worth of food. And I thought it takes absolutely nothing to be able to create this distribution. How can it become more sustainable? And I said, I'm available. And in the first 5 years, there was tremendous mistakes and stumbles, a lot of trees, a lot of things that says, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're doing, let this go, this is expensive, this is a waste of time. And yet I kept saying, I'm available. It was a vow. It was a vow. And with each saying I'm available, a greater piece of the forest would open up. A greater next step up the mist on the staircase to solution would reveal itself. And that's not a special thing for me. That is a universal experience for all of us. So one of the big gifts today is not only the commitment to being a forest person, but it's now a little mantra that you can use to walk around and just go, I'm available. The way I sort of apply that is I go, I don't know, but you know what? There's something inside of me that does. And the more that I keep saying I'm available rather than spewing my excuses or my fears or my history, then the more that space is made for that solution to reside and to reveal itself. The more of that forest experience can be unveiled, and I can turn around just like on the Pyrenees and go, oh my God, look at where I'm at. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter your history. It has nothing to do with our economic status. In fact, it has nothing to do with how many times we may have tried something and failed, because principle, this law that is unlimited that Ernest Holmes talked about, starts now. It starts in the now moment, because there is only now. So what if we're walking around all of the time simply saying, I'm available, I'm available. And so that has been the thing that has revealed infinite possibility in my life. That is the thing now that has allowed me to witness the ability to take a Guatemalan girl out of a slave labor practice and to give her education and have her go back to her local village and be a prototype for those villagers to be able to see that there is a long-term vision. There is a long-term plan. There is something beyond living in crisis mode all the time. And that's just not for people in Central America. That's not just for the children that we have schools for in the slums of India. That's for the day-to-day life of us as humanity. And so the more that we say, I'm available to being a forest person, the more that is like a pebble in a pond. You don't have to preach it. You don't have to convert anybody. You don't have to tell anybody what you're doing. But you can walk around and you can mutter that mantra and you can say, I'm available. It's the greatest, most beautiful surrender. The Hindus call it being a bodhisattva. And a bodhisattva simply means someone who is dedicated to eliminating the suffering of others. I think that's why we're here. I think that that's our purpose. And the ultimate spiritual understanding, the 12 Powers series, the ultimate spiritual understanding is realizing that there's no finish line and there's no failure. There's just the allowing. And so may you find a way to become enthusiastic about the potentiality of being a forest person. And may you become annoyingly committed to walking around saying, I'm available, I'm available, I'm available. Because look out, your whole world will change. Namaste. Thank you so very much for having me. Blessings.
And now it's the time of service for our prosperity blessing. I like to take in my hand what I am offering, whether that's through monetary means of PayPal, a check, cash, or your sacred seva of your treasures and talents. I like to hold it in my hand and put it up to my heart just to have me be reminded of the vibrational energy that that contributes to this immediate community and beyond. So if you'll join me with the prosperity blessing, the words will be up on the screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Hey there, this is an original song, self-penned tune called Above the Rain. I hope you enjoy. Only have one road to go, one road to travel. Who knows which one to follow? Concrete or gravel? I have one seed to sow. Can I make it a good one? Water it well to make it grow, and will it ever see the sun? And there's laughter and there's sorrow. No one knows just what's the store for our tomorrow. And there's joy and a touch of pain, but the sunshine resides above the rain. I lie awake at night, mind through my mind, just what is my purpose, to where I get stuck. But if I play a note just right, might strike a chord about this human existence, and all it is obscure. And still there's laughter and there's sorrow. No one knows just what's in store for our tomorrow. And there's joy and a touch of pain, but the sunshine resides above the rain. Rise up out of bed, step over the door, try to clear my head from a complicated fall. You're breathing soft and sweet, as I watch you sleep, comforting like the ocean. Your dreams for you to keep. You gently stir away, in the dark she does too. Sleeping thoughts concur, and a mighty voice rings through. Don't be afraid, shut out the light, the brightest star shining in the darkest night. And it's yours to pay, this road of gravel. Plant some flowers as we go, and I travel. So I crawl back onto the blankets, shut out the lights. I call on Spirit to thank you for setting me right. I turn back to my lover, plan of chaos, just wondering where I'd be, just wondering what I'd miss without the pain, without the laughter that carries us through to forever after. And there's joy and there's sorrow. No one knows just what's in store for our tomorrow. Don't be afraid, shut out the lights, sunshine resides above the rain, and the sunshine resides above the rain. Thank you so much.
Prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Hi, we are Blaze and Kelly from Boise, Idaho. We'd love to get down to Fort Collins, folks. And in fact, that is not so far away. If you like what you hear today, you can always visit us at blazeandkelly.com. And we also do live streams. So if you jump on our newsletter, you'll be up to date with when we're doing that, or our Facebook page at Blaze and Kelly on Facebook. My name's Nicole Blaze. This is the lovely
Mo Kelly.
Mo Kelly on the bass. And we appreciate being here, and we hope that you're having a wonderful weekend.
We do have a full website. Go to blazeandkelly.com, check out our calendar, and we would love to get some Fort Collins, Colorado gigs on our calendar. So let us know if you like our vibe and where we can play for you.
Yes, we'll be making a plan at some point in time. Here's a self-penned song called Thankful. Thankful for love, thankful for peace, thankful for this moment in time to watch you sleep, thankful for health, thankful for joy, thankful for the light I see in young girls and boys, thankful for friends, thankful for growth, thankful for the tug of the universe pulling on my road. Thankful for dogs, thankful for trees, thankful I'm tough enough to get back up when I skin my knees, thankful for time, thankful for tunes in this giant galaxy with the stars and the moon. Thank you, Lord, thank you, grace, thank you for seeing me alive and surviving all the place. I give thanks for all I have, and each day I wake up, I can do it all again. I give thanks for you, forgiveness and courage, and dreams that come true, and wisdom and laughter. People coming together, standing tall through disaster. I give thanks for all the wonder and the magic there is to see, and acceptance when I finally arrive. Let my troubles be. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, grace. Thank you for seeing me alive. the simple things and the glory each new day brings. I give thanks for another day in this beautiful world. We all get to play and give thanks. Ooh, I 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 give thanks. Ooh. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so very, very much for that musical inspiration. What I love about music is the way in which it has the ability to reach, sometimes in ways that spoken word can't. So thank you so much for your gift. If you will join me, I'd love to anchor our morning time with a little benediction, a closing prayer. So wherever you are, whatever comfortable for you, if you want to close your eyes, I always like to invite people to take a deep breath. And by that, simply a breath that is deeper than you're accustomed to. And all that that does is it brings the awareness into the now moment. It brings the awareness of the fact that we do have the power to choose to direct the breath. And so as we open ourselves up, we settle into a recognition and a realization that all around us is God. And by whatever name that we call it, the perfect patterning source, the divine, we realize that it permeates in and through all things. And the joy for us is that with each opening, with each expanded spaciousness of our willingness to see it, to see that forest expression of good, we feel it, it's real, we're influenced by it, and we allow ourselves to be absorbed in it. And so the prayer today is, may we allow a greater sense of that which is the forest, that which is God, to be experienced by us. May we be available. And may we understand that by doing this, we are in the divine alignment and that all is well. And indeed, all is well for you and for me. May we experience that not in our head, but in our heart. And taking another deep cleansing breath with me, together we say, and so it is. Thank you again. God bless.